More than 150,000 people have died.
For the entire planet, it is a disaster. Humans are to blame.
People have been wounded in a stabbing incident outside Central Middlesex Hospital in West London.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
Stop watching, listening and reading the news, please. It is damaging your mental health and it's getting rid of any of the happiness that is actually left in the world. And there is truth behind the saying of ignorance is bliss. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I want to kick today's video off with a hard-hitting fact, and that is, how does negative news affect your brain? This is shocking. When you begin doom scrolling and consuming too much negative, traumatic and fear-driven news, your sympathetic nervous system causes your body to release stress hormones, including cortisol, adrenaline, which increases huge amounts of unwanted anxiety and paranoia. So basically, your body is simulating and reacting as if you were in a real life crisis. Does that sound good? Absolutely not. Which doesn't surprise me, because I know so many people that are overwhelmed and consuming themselves daily with the news, and they're always worrying about things. What's going to happen? Oh my God, what does the future hold? So let me give you a few examples of what the lovely mainstream media typically blesses us with and why you need to avoid it. Murder, terrorism, political chaos, corruption, war, cost of living crisis. Basically, what I'm trying to say is it never ends and it's never good news. So why on earth would you switch the telly on, turn the radio on, buy a paper and read it and consume it to make yourself miserable? That's the God's honest truth. You're making yourself a doom and gloom person, opposed to surrounding yourself and consuming positivity. So the big question is, how on earth is all of this negativity in the mainstream media good for your mental health? Well, it's not. More so, prolonged exposure to distressing and negative news basically makes you numb without even know it. It becomes the norm, which is not good, because you'll see horrific and hear shocking things and it's water off a duck's back. It shouldn't be like that. But the problem is, we are in a world where there's this huge amount of information online that we see this stuff all the time, if you're choosing to, and it becomes the norm. You don't think anything of it. So when you hear the likes of war, murder, terrorism, you just think, oh, another day. That's not a good mindset to be in. It's also, this is a big one for me, incredibly time wasting. I am someone that constantly talks about how you utilize your time and use it for personal development, productivity, building a brand, a business, entrepreneurship, social networking. Everything positive is something that I talk about, and that all takes time. So imagine going home, turning on channels 1, 2 and 3, the mainstream channels that we see on our TVs. Well, I don't, because I don't watch them. Or if you listen to them on the radio or read them in the paper, is taking your time away from things that you should be doing that should be improving your life. Ask yourself the question, the amount of time that you spend reading and listening and watching the doom and gloom, you are putting yourself in a god-awful bubble opposed to doing something really good with your life. You don't need to see the news. Fact. Okay, you should be doing something in education, moving forward, self-fulfillment, personal development, build a business, learn about finances, etc, etc. Now, just before we carry on with this video, if you are enjoying this type of topic and you'd like me to talk more about it, please feel free to leave me a comment in the below, and do hit like and subscribe. Really helps me produce more of these videos. But if you like these kind of controversial topics, then happy to do more of them. Just let me know in the comments below. Now let's address the elephant in the room. This is a big one. I could talk about this all day long, and this is a 50-50 split. You're going to agree with me or you're going to disagree with me. You're not going to sit on the fence, because that hurts. So you're either going to be with me on this one, or I think you're probably going to disagree. Either way, it's my video. So here we go. The majority of the news is fake. It's rubbish. Absolute and utter rubbish. And the world that we're in right now, which is an abundance of information which we can source ourselves, we're starting to realize, if we listen and we open up our eyes, actually the mainstream media has been lying for years. Okay, back in the day, the baby boomers, the 50s, 60s, 70s, all they had was channels 1, 2, 3 and 4, not even that, to watch and listen. And they had to accept what they were being told, because they couldn't source the information elsewhere. They had no outlet. They couldn't ask anyone because the information wasn't there. Open sourced information, they couldn't download and make a decision themselves. We can now. And I'm going to go through some of the controversial things which I feel very strongly about, and I think we've been lied to for many years. So let's go through them. 9/11. If you think that was down to terrorism, well, look into it a little bit more. What a load of rubbish that was. 9/11 was politically driven by the US government, and unfortunately I think Tony Blair had a big part to play in that. Colonel Gaddafi, claimed as a terrorist, wiped off the face of the earth for horrific crimes and the way he ran things. Although all the feedback from the states that he ran, actually, I think there was some equality there, and he was about to bring together African nations of digital currency, which could have thrown off the powerhouses, which are the US dollar, the Chinese yen, and the euro and the British pound, because he was going to move into digital currencies. Food for thought. Invasion of Iraq. Oil. COVID-19. I don't know what you all think of that, but don't get me started on COVID-19. What was it in the UK? 175 odd thousand people died because of COVID. Lo and behold, it was only about 17,000, majority were old. Is that even the truth? I mean, who remembers when COVID-19 struck and the Sun were plastering all these videos in Italian hospitals? Pandemonium everywhere, people dying left, right and centre. And yet, it came to light, a lot of these were staged. What's going on with the vaccine? Who knows? People are dying left, right and centre. Blood clots, God knows what else. But of course, they generated mass fear. We had a lot of old people and a lot of people who still believe certain mainstream medias, and they'll take their word for it. They won't look into it. Some people call them sheep. I'm not saying that's what I'm saying, but a lot of people refer to it as the sheep mentality. Go and find things, question things. If someone tells you something, say, I hear you, but I'm gonna go find my own answer. I'm gonna go look into it. We've got the moon landing. Well, that's an interesting one. Let me know in the comments below. Do you believe in the moon landing, or was it staged? I don't know. It's not hard to stage things. Let's put it this way. Green screens now, we can do everything. The list goes on. The list goes on. Everything is being questioned now. UFOs. You know, there's a big thing with the Pentagon at the moment that they've got to release information because it's already been leaked and people are going to find out about it. You know, just question things. Don't take everything for gospel that you see. Granted, some of you may be watching thinking, come on Aaron, you don't actually believe all these conspiracy theories, do you? They're all conspiracy. So where did the word conspiracy come from? Conspiracy started if someone disagreed back in the day with mainstream media. Everyone knows David Icke. You know, David Icke said a lot of things years ago that have actually come to fruition. But he was called someone who just believed in all these conspiracies and started a lot of them. But a conspiracy back in the day was if you disagreed with what the mainstream media published. If you disagreed with it and said, absolute rubbish, I'm calling them out, you believed in conspiracy theories. Whereas now, years and years later, we have all this information that we can dive into and find out. We can actually turn around and say a lot of them are actually coming to life. Carol Vorderman most recently did a video calling out all the politicians, MPs, that are evading tax, you know, fraud. They've got all this money offshore. And she's calling it out and she's saying, we've never been in a world, especially in the UK, where there's such blatant corruption but no one does anything about it. But in the news, it's covered up. Just think, during the pandemic, when everyone had family members dying and people couldn't go to funerals, we had our government having parties, eating vol au vents and cheesecakes and God knows what else. How can you believe any of it? But if you consume it, you're going to immerse yourself in a very fake and negative and toxic world, which is why you should focus on you, be positive, ignore it, turn it off completely and stay in your own lane. Now, I want to go on to this. I want to share a quote with you because this is the way that I sum the news up. So this is a great quote. Great minds discuss ideas. That doesn't happen on the news. Average minds discuss events. That's more newsy. Small minds discuss people. That's your papers. All the papers, when you're lining up in a Tesco's or a Co-op and you're getting your little croissant and you see all the rack of papers, the magazine, Just Do It, and God knows what else these other magazines are called, I don't know. And you're looking at all these bold titles, you know, murder, corruption, war. That's small minds discuss people. Why do you want to read that? Do you know what? I find it bizarre and odd. And I'm actually a little bit weary of people that like to consume horror, real stories of murder, and read about it and what people have done. Anyway, before we carry on, quick swig of my coffee. The other thing I urge you to do is cut off people who are very heavy into the news. So that might be an older generation in your family. Don't get me wrong, we've all got them. Grandparents, uncles, aunties. I would just say, be very polite and just say, look, when I come to see you or we meet up, I don't want to talk about the news. Basically, I don't want to talk about anything negative because I'm at a stage in my life where I want to push forward and be productive and be positive. So if from this point onwards, we can just stop talking about the news and some of the negative stuff because it's actually starting to take its toll on me. There's nothing wrong in saying that. Be bold and actually have the backbone to say that to people who might like to talk about the news. I know them. I had people like that in my life. Every time they wanted to meet for a coffee, it was always the happenings in the news. I don't want to know. Don't tell me about it. I'm on to bigger and better things. Again, going through the great minds, average minds and small minds. Just remember that. Now, as I said at the beginning, ignorance is bliss when you don't listen, watch or read the news. However, if you are someone like me who's in business, finances, loves entrepreneurship, personal development, there are some news outlets, articles that you can consume that are more positive and factual, like forums, like articles online, certain websites, newsletters that you can subscribe to. And if you want to listen to things or watch things, podcasts and YouTube. There's plenty of them. If you do like certain updates or they are important for your business or your lifestyle, there are more positive options that you can go and find. And they're all on Google, they're all on YouTube, and there's loads of podcasts. Basically, what I'm trying to say, cut off mainstream media because they don't tell you the truth. It's all politically driven to line their purses. So go and find the more independent articles. So finally, to be in a better mindset, cut it all off. To be healthier, happier, live a more positive life, a more fulfilling one, just eradicate all news completely and swap it for positive things. That's from what you see online. By the way, don't forget, there's no excuse. You can block, report and remove everything on social media that is news related. No one turns your telly on apart from you. No one turns your radio on apart from you. No one has conversations with someone else who's a little bit monotone, a bit miserable, a bit negative, talks like this. You make the decision whether you see them or not. The responsibility, accountability, ownership from this point onwards, from watching this video, if you want to be happier, healthier in your mindset and do something with your life, it's on you. It's not on me, it's on you. So there you go, I've said it. I live my life in a very high state of positivity because I choose to, because I value and respect myself enough. And I'm aware there's too many liars in the world and I don't want to live in distrust. I don't want to not get on with people. I don't want to not build good relationships, but I can't with the people that are obsessed with the news because it's not real life. Give yourself a break. Go do something good with your life. Turn off all the crap. Now, if you do like these type of videos, by the way, I'm going to do more of these. I did have a series called Ignore the Noise. You can go check it out on my YouTube channel, but I'm going to address some of the things that need addressing in the world. So if you do want to see more of these videos, maybe you want a part 3 or whatever you want me to talk about, feel free, let me know in the comments below. Please do support the channel, like, comment, subscribe, share it with people that might benefit from this. And until next time, I'll see you all very soon. I'm gonna have a quick swig of my Staffy cup. For anyone that doesn't know, I've got a Staffy, she's called Misty, and I'll see you in the next video.